So let's go ahead and now focus on the arteries found in the abdominal cavity. And so notice there's one large artery that runs the full length of the body cavity, and that is going to be the abdominal aorta. Along its length, it's going to send off various artery branches to supply blood to different organs. And so let's name those various branches one at a time. Starting up here, the most superior branch to come off the cat's abdominal aorta is the celiac trunk. That celiac trunk divides into hepatic, gastric, and splenic arteries. So no surprise that the organs I see here above that celiac trunk are the spleen, stomach, and liver, since those are the three organs that branches of this artery supply blood to. The next artery branch to come off the abdominal aorta right here is the superior mesenteric artery. And if I show you what organ that vessel is attaching to, you'll see that it's the small intestine. That makes sense, as the superior mesenteric artery supplies blood to the small intestine. As we continue to work our way down the abdominal aorta, the next major branch we find attaches to a kidney. And that makes this vessel then right here a renal artery. Continuing down, we eventually find another pair of vessels, this time not going to the kidneys, but instead to the reproductive organs, making these gonadal arteries. So for example, this happens to be a female cat specimen where there is one of her ovaries, and there is that gonadal artery heading to it. As we continue down the length of the abdominal aorta, we then find a branch right here that connects to the large intestine. That makes this branch the inferior mesenteric artery. Finally, when we get down here to the distal end of the abdominal aorta, it branches at the height of the pelvis into what we call iliac arteries. Now, unlike humans who have common iliac arteries, cats do not. So therefore, the first branching pair of arteries that sit more laterally are the external iliac arteries. And just below them is what looks like another forking pair of vessels. Those would then be the internal iliac arteries. It is one of these external iliac arteries that will puncture its way through the body wall and enter the thigh. When it does that, the name of this artery officially changes, and it is now femoral artery, and therefore no surprise that the vein right next to it is the femoral vein. So focusing now on the veins of the abdominal cavity, the largest one we find right here is the inferior vena cava. It's going to take blood up toward the heart from beneath. Here we see a kidney, and so therefore this vein right here draining from the kidney into that inferior vena cava is a renal vein. These cats are then also injected with yellow latex to preserve the blood vessels that belong to the hepatic portal system. So, because this is all the small intestine right here, then that makes this yellow vein right here the superior mesenteric vein. Notice, here's the spleen right here, and so that makes this yellow vein coming over from that the splenic vein. Right here is where the splenic vein merges with the superior mesenteric vein to make this really large yellow vein I'm lifting now, and that's called the hepatic portal vein. That's the vein that brings blood from the digestive organs into the liver so it can be filtered to be sent around the full body.